A good way to show off a user interface project in your portfolio is to include possibly some video, like a little walkthrough of your app or website, and we can pretty easily do that, create something like that, funnily enough, in Photoshop. So let's have a look at that. I've got a video that I recorded from XD of a news app that we were playing with, and I'm just sort of working or going through the features of that app, clicking here and there, etc. And I've recorded that, and I want to turn that into a bit of a presentation on my site. So let's open that directly into Photoshop. Just drag the file onto the Photoshop icon. It might take a second, but it'll open a range of video files, including MP4 files, which are the files that are saved from screen recordings in XD. So it's opened up the file in Photoshop, the Photoshop window, and I'm going to have to move again the bottom of my screen here so that I can access the timeline. So I had the timeline already open. You can access the timeline from the window menu, and this is a video timeline as opposed to a frame-by-frame timeline. You can see our video asset in here. It's got a layer name, and it goes for a certain amount of time, 20 seconds or so. I can zoom into that file, and you can see my seconds running along here. Over in my layers palette, we've got the video layer. So it's a specific type of layer. Okay, so I can work with this video asset in Photoshop. Play the video, rewind, and add assets to this composition as required. So what I'm going to do to start with is make my canvas the same size as the other assets in my presentation. So I'm going to present this piece with other stills and other types of assets, and they're all going to be in the same format. So I'm going to change the canvas size of this image to 1600 by 1200. Okay. Yep, I know it's a little bit smaller than the actual video file, but that's cool because I can transform that, Command T, and holding Option down, bring it into the center of the composition. So that looks good. I'm going to add a background and a little bit of a sort of a phone shape to my composition. I'm going to start by just making sure that give myself a little bit of space here. Deselect my video and my video layer, and I'm going to make a solid color. For some reason I'm going to go with a red. Don't know if that's going to work or not. Let's see. Go OK, and that's at the top of our layer stack. I'm just going to bring it to the bottom. So now I've got two layers. I've got my video layer and my color fill layer. So they're stacking on top of each other, but when we're working with time, we've also got the length of our assets in the composition. So I can see now that the color fill only goes for a certain amount of time. So I've just got to make sure that when I see that I drag that out so that it goes for the full duration of the video. So that's cool. And the other thing I wanted to do is add a bit of a phone shape. So I'm going to grab a rectangle and add some rounded corners to it. Let's see what 30 pixel rounded corner looks like. I'm going to drag out a shape that's around about the same size as our screen size. Now I'll just go back and show you what I had selected. I had my rectangle tool selected. I'm going to make a shape. I don't actually want a fill, but a stroke, but I do want a fill. So we'll just leave that at black at the moment, and I changed the corner radius to 30, but I think maybe 40 would be better. Alright, and I'll drag that out again. I'll just deselect everything here. Actually, I might make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, something like that looks good. Cool. So again, my rectangle that I've created is not long enough for the composition, but it's in the wrong order, so I'll bring that to underneath the video layer. Alright, and a different color, I reckon. Maybe a grey. Cool, I'll quickly add a drop shadow to that. That's fine. Now, I want to add a mask to the video layer itself. So I'm quickly going to select or make a selection based on my rectangle shape there. I'm going to hold Command down, click on that layer, and you can see that I've generated this layer here. I'm going to make the size of it a little bit smaller. So I'll go to Select, Modify, Contract. I'm going to contract that by about 20. See how that looks? Ripper. So I've got this rounded shaped selection, and I'll add a layer mask to my video group, and that's looking cool. Gives me this sort of sense of a phone shape, and just give it a bit more of a drop shadow there. Now, of course, I could do any number of things here, but I just wanted to give you a sense of how I could open up a video file inside of Photoshop, incorporate some other graphic elements with it. Let's have a quick play through. You can see that we've got animation happening there, which is cool. Now to export this, I'm going to export it as an MP4 file, and then in my website building platform, I'll upload that video file, and I'll embed it into the page that I'm building. So to do that, we'll go up to File, we'll simply go to Export, and we'll go to Render Video. Give it a name. Gonna have it just go straight to the desktop. We're going to export a H.264. That's the format, the compression format for a .mp4 file. And I think I'll leave the document size as is, but you could change that. I'm going to leave everything else as is and hit render. And it'll take a minute or so. Okay, it's finished. Oh no, there we go. It's recorded and it's rendered. And here's our video file, MP4. If I open that with a QuickTime Player on a Mac, we've got this nice asset that we can include on our page.